I'll help you. I'll be
Let's
your
go.
tower defense mentor.
And then
Yeah, you have Patrick. He's a starter unit here.
I do have Karen too. That's it.
You got to save up some money. If you want, you can join Jelly Spotters,
Oh,
and you
okay,
can
okay.
come with me into the clubhouse.
The middle one,
Um,
join. Changing factions will cost you Robux later on.
yeah, there's a competition, so I'll
Yeah,
meet you
yeah,
in the
yeah.
clubhouse.
All right, I'm in the.
My name is Zach Letter. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Wonderworks Studios. I spent 10 years plus as a full-time gaming influencer on YouTube. I've amassed millions of followers and billions of views across all my channels.
Going from influencer to game studio owner now, how did you even know what to do?
It definitely was different. I didn't really know anyone in this space, but I got very lucky, and my first programmer was great. And our first builder is now our art director and has been with us for almost 6 years. He was employee number one, the first person I ever hired. But I think that was the hardest part and still is today, like scaling on Roblox.
What do you recommend, and how do you even find talent?
Yeah, it's difficult. I almost don't want to give up the secret sauce here because it's just
You
it's
don't have
hard to
to,
find
but
really good talent. Like there's the secret is like you need to have an exciting project to bring really good developers to your team. So like SpongeBob's very exciting and the fact that we did that and it had success, now we have even more exciting opportunities. So more people are coming to us. I think Roblox and mobile are starting to be more in the same than they are different. I'm not trying to sound like a evil corporate capitalist here, but it's hard to run a business on soft, light monetization. Total revenue potential on a user would be like $10. I'm not saying we don't allow these experiences to be played by others, but it's allowing for a higher ceiling of spend. In SpongeBob, you can spend tens of thousands of USD. You don't have to.
mm-hmm.
I have a free to play account myself. I haven't spent a dollar, but I'm more engaged on that account with my overall time spend to get to that point. So it's like these are convenience offer. Most of the things in our shop aren't exclusive. It's more of like pay for progression.
Go in, essentially. It seems like you're spending a good amount of time choosing which partners to work with and also what kind of game you want to make. What's your average time from idea to actually launching a game? And then how much does the game change in between, especially as algo changes or meta changes?
The Paramount SpongeBob story is a fun one. We went to RDC, Roblox Developer Conference, last September, and I met with Paramount and I told them, "Hey, I'm making a tower defense game. Would love for it to be a SpongeBob tower defense game. The crazy thing is, we need to be in contract and working on this in 2 weeks." And they were like, "Whoa."
Was it a bluff
um,
or were you talking to other partners and you just wanted to integrate IP immediately?
no, we bet like the entire company on this game working because we did a lot of work for hire that wasn't super inspired. We basically had 3 months from when I went to pitch it to hope that they would sign a contract and we could make the game as fast as possible. This is my shiny Wumbo Dennis. Goes around creating like a flame spiral, like a little flame tornado. You have to be level 15, but I can juice you real quick.
Okay.
Hold on.
Nice. This is really why I do these interviews.
Yeah, you get it,
I
getting
don't
all the
even have to
XP.
pay to win.
Got to know the devs. My name is Zach Letter. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Wonderworks Studios. I spent 10 years plus as a full-time gaming influencer on YouTube. I've amassed millions of followers and billions of views across all my channels. I was on YouTube in the early days, like 2007. So I got to kind of see that platform come up, evolve. People get to start making a living off of it, and then now we have this giant creator economy where creators are probably producing the majority of content we all watch. Um, my wife was a co-founder of this business as well. She's also an influencer with tens of millions of followers and billions of views, and she was making all of her videos on Roblox. So during her come up on YouTube, I was like, wow, this is like an amazing opportunity. She's driving tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people to these games that she's playing on her channel. We definitely need to make a game. So that's kind of the idea and how Wonderworks is born, just to capitalize on the opportunity we already had on YouTube. Because I noticed like you needed that flywheel, you needed that social flywheel, you needed reach beyond the Roblox platform to really have a viral game, to have a top 10 experience. I'm like, well, we have that solved, and most games need to organically build it over time when we could come in and kind of already have it established. So we started the company in November of 2019, hired two devs, one programmer, one artist, and then I designed our first ever game, which released in the summer of 2020. Um, and that's the beginning of the story, really. There's a lot more to it, but that's how it all started.
It's awesome. And you can plug both your YouTube channels too, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I was Aviator Gaming. I haven't done that now, in like 7 years. But I'll be running down the street or doing something out and about, and I'll hear Aviator,
No
Aviator.
way,
You know,
even
I still
now.
I still get recognized. I actually have a funny story. I was recently switching from Verizon to AT&T for my cell phone plan. Um, and I called in and I was like just trying to port my phone number. And at the very end, they're like, "What's your email? I need to send you confirmation." I gave them my email, which is still my old YouTube email. And they were like, "No way. You're Aviator Gaming?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." So the person that was helping me at Verizon switch my number to AT&T, was a longtime viewer and watched me like 10 years ago.
That's crazy.
So,
That's actually
yeah, no,
crazy. What content were you
yeah.
making 10 years ago?
So it started with like Minecraft. This was more than 10 years ago, but like in 2010, 11, when Minecraft first came out, I got on it really early, started making videos. Um, And I you couldn't monetize gaming really back then unless you were with Machinima, which was like a network at the time. And I remember I'm like, okay, it's really hard to get into Machinima Realm, which was like the Minecraft Machinima channel. But it's easy to get into Machinima Sports because not as many creators wanted to make Madden or FIFA videos. So like I made a random Madden video, submitted it as if I was a creator that was very focused on sports content. Machinima let me into their program. I submitted a few videos from Machinima Sports that they could upload to their channel. And then I was like, "Can I have the contact to the manager at Machinima Realm?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, sure, why not?" And then I was like, "Dude, I really just want to be on Machinima Realm. I'm already in the network, like move me over." So Machinima monetized my channel, let me start submitting Minecraft videos. I even moved out to Los Angeles and worked for Machinima during its heyday and was producing content directly for their
Very cool.
channels and my channels as I grew.
And then going from influencer to game creator, game studio owner now, how did you even know what to do?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was different. I didn't really know anyone in this space, so it's not like I'm like, "Oh, I know this great programmer or this great builder." But I got very lucky, and my first programmer was great, and our first builder is now our art director and has been with us for almost 6 years. He was employee number 1, the first person I ever hired, and he's really shaped the business into what it looks like on the consumer level. So what all of our games look like and their art style and their art direction is very much determined by him. But I think that was the hardest part and still is today. Like scaling on Roblox
Hmm.
can be difficult because the talent pool are either, young and don't have time for a full-time commitment, or they're maybe in college still and it would be hard for them to balance both. Or two, they're very extremely successful on their own.
Yeah,
And because if they're really, really, really good, they
yeah,
probably have a few games that are just doing really, really well. And then when it comes to traditional devs that might, work on Unity or on Real, there is a learning curve when you come over. It's not that it's technically difficult to come over and make games because it's actually probably the easiest platform to make games on, but you need to really understand the culture and how the community is going to receive specific games and features and even genres as a whole. So I think that was the most difficult thing. I design all of our games, all of our originals and our licensed stuff. So for me, I never did that before either, but I've been playing games since I was 3 years old. I'm turning 35 this year. So, when you play a game, you're like, man, why did they do this? They should have did this and
yeah.
that. It was like the equivalent of being on the couch yelling at the TV when you're watching a football game. And it's like, I just need to get in there and give it a chance. So I just applied everything I saw and things I didn't enjoy and tried to change them.
Awesome. Last thing before we start playing the game that you guys have made and it's been such a big hit now is what do you recommend and how do you even find talent on the platform?
Yeah, it's difficult. I almost don't want to give up the secret sauce here because it's just
You
it's
don't have
hard to
to,
find
but
really good talent.
you
I
can be
mean,
vague.
yeah, like there's the secret is like you need to have an exciting project for to bring really good developers to your team. So like SpongeBob's very exciting, and like the fact that we did that and it had success, now we have even more exciting opportunities. So more people are coming to us like in hopes of getting to work at this studio, like how I imagine people back in the day wanted to go to Activision or EA. So for us, we have a decent amount of inbound interest now, which is really lucky. But otherwise, it really is just trial and error when it comes to growing a team here and figuring out what works for you. And every developer is different. But most developers I've worked with that are native to Roblox are some of the best developers
Hmm.
you'll ever find. They don't typically have a college degree. They don't typically have a lot of real like resume building work experience, but they are some of the most passionate, talented, and dedicated individuals I've ever met. So stay local to Roblox and take some risks on individuals because oftentimes they're going to really impress you.
And the inbound you guys are getting, is it from only Roblox devs or is it all game developers?
No, it's all game developers. Yeah, devs on Real. We've had some Fortnite creators come to us
Mm.
too, wondering if they could make the transition. For us, though, like we're a very small team. We're 10 people. We just made 3 hires. We're about to be 13 in mid-April. But yeah, very exciting. But we're never really going to grow all that much. I always say like even if we're making 1 billion a month, my interest isn't to like scale this to 10,000 people because I think the quality suffers. Like you can't duplicate, and you're seeing in AAA and even some indie spaces, like you can't just duplicate a really successful team and copy and paste them and make dozens of successful games. So it is really about the individuals, how passionate they are about the project they're on,
Mm.
and then what what interest level does the market have for
Mm.
that kind of experience.
I could keep going on and on. This is super helpful and interesting insight. Maybe we get into it. I actually don't think I have you added.
Yeah,
Let me add you.
let's I can yeah, you can add me. Here's a link to my private server where we can get started in peace because now that we have the YouTube channel, I do get swarmed every once in a
Nice.
while um, in the game. So let me see my user. Let me link that to you too.
Okay.
And then I'll just need yours because I'm so cool. I have so many friend
That
requests
you have to unfriend
that
people?
I'd have to like make sure who's you and who's not
Okay,
just
okay.
somebody.
Okay, let me log in on desktop really fast.
I have all the Roblox clout that you could ever want.
It's just something you never thought would happen.
Yeah. It it's way cooler to be like considered a rock star developer in my opinion than
Yeah.
to be a famous YouTuber.
Really? That's
Yeah, because it
surprising.
feels like you've made something that's super
Mm,
impactful that others can manipulate and create their own experience with. Like when I make a video, I'm beloved because people might have a small parasocial relationship with me or like they enjoyed that specific content, but it was on Rails.
yeah.
Like a game, like, yeah, there's still guidelines to what you can physically or like that's possible to do, but like it could create all these really unique moments because your one friend did this really silly thing or you discovered this little bug. Like I think like it's so fun and it really feels special to be recognized for being a good dev.
That makes sense because as a creator, you're like one to many, but now I guess, I guess you're still one to many. Like you can reach a lot of different
There's a lot of great
creators
devs.
and a lot of different people. And you get views on your content too. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we're good at making YouTube videos. It was something I didn't think I was going to do when I stopped doing it in like 2018.
Hmm.
That I was going to do again because you feel like you kind of age out of it slowly, especially as
Hmm.
like a gaming entertainer. But I don't think that's true. What I thought 7 years ago. So
Your face is no longer it's no longer a parasocial relationship though, it seems like.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay. I'm in. My username is curly fries with two S's and curly
gotcha.
with
Okay, I just
QU.
added you.
Okay.
Perfect.
And I joined your server.
Okay, I'm about to hop in
Okay.
and show you around. I have all of the juiced units, everything you could
Oh, I'm
possibly want.
sure. I'm like level 5.
My loadout has to be worth quite a pretty penny in
Oh man.
Robux.
In the future, I want to
Uh,
do side by side screen comparisons so people can see how stacked the creators are. Oh my God, yeah.
I
It-
got the SpongeBob chain. It's all diamond
oh
out, you
my
know.
God. I'll zoom in for you.
Um,
Okay, so how many games did you guys create before this game?
yeah, I mean, Wonderworks, we started with an original title. It was Overlook Bay. It did quarter billion visits, had 26 million unique players. It was an original IP to our studio, did really, really well. Then after that, we decided that we were going to do work for the studio. We raised venture capital, like, scale or die. And that just led us to making, I guess, what I would consider like somewhat uninspired projects. You didn't have full creative control. Like, you couldn't really make a game. You were more like making an advertisement. So
These were your
I'm not
first
gonna
branded
count those.
projects?
Yeah, those are my first, like those are the old school branded projects where it's more of like a marketing team
Yeah.
driving the direction of a game. But I think what makes SpongeBob work is it's amazing IP by an amazing studio that was willing to let us make a Roblox game. Like, not make a billboard
Mhm.
or an advertisement. Like, it was like, let's make a legit good Roblox game. And I feel like our initial work for hire was let's make a billboard,
Yeah.
let's get a LinkedIn post and maybe a Forbes article.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, this was, we don't care about that. Let's make something that our community is going to love and engage with, and it's going to raise awareness for the brand and generate revenue ultimately as well. Um, so if you count like the early branded stuff, we've done dozens of games,
Mm.
dozens. We also had a hyper casual extension to our studio where we made a dozen games in like 2.5 months that probably have over 500 million visits.
Wow.
Yeah, so, like, we've done definitely over 1 billion visits now to our experiences, with SpongeBob pulling in nearly 250 million right now.
Mhm.
So SpongeBob is now our most successful original,
Oh, that's awesome.
well, or it's basically about to be our most successful in a few days.
What is it taking over? What was the most successful before?
Overlook Bay, which was our first project.
This is
Then
2019,
we have Highland
2020?
Park. Yeah, that was in 2020. Yeah, summer of 2020. And then we have Highland Park, which is a role play game that came out January of last year that has like 115 million,
Mhm.
but it still has like 8 million monthly actives. So like that game is still pulling in a bunch of visits, but this SpongeBob game is far outpacing it.
Okay. And then over the years, what have you learned not to do, especially as you've worked with different brands and also have built dozens and dozens of experiences?
I feel like the to dos would fit on a nice post-it note. I feel like the list of what not to do would
Uh-huh.
be like, that scene out of, Santa Claus with Tim Allen when they roll up in the
Yeah,
FedEx
yeah,
trucks
yeah,
with, like,
yeah.
2,000 boxes. That would be the list of things not to do. We've learned a lot
Mhm.
of what not to do on Roblox, and we've learned a lot of tough lessons, and I always joke, it costs a few million bucks to learn a few tough lessons. Um, and, that's very much what we went through as a company and evolving. Like, when we came out of the gates with our first ever experience, we did everything right. We had the playbook, we knew exactly what to do, and then, you know, we raised venture capital, hired a bunch of people that weren't part of that core team.
Yeah.
We went up 90 people. Like I said, we're 10
Oh,
now.
wow.
We were 90 people in office, all in a physical location, and a lot of juniors, no middle management. I'm inexperienced. I can't manage 90 people
Mhm.
either. So it was too much, too fast, no real like structure. So one, I think scale doesn't necessarily mean success, and I think that was like a lesson we learned the hard way. Um, because like I said, if you have a successful game, it doesn't mean you can copy and paste that formula and have a bunch of successful games.
Mhm.
You can, but even when you look at Supercell, it's not like every experience they're releasing is the next Brawl Stars or
Mhm.
Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
And they struggle as well. And then imagine all the experiences that never made it to global with a studio as successful as Supercell. Um, so yeah, scale doesn't equal success. Another thing we learned too is really it's the people that matter most. The people that you employ, making sure they're the right people, making sure they feel heard, that they're happy, good work-life balance. You don't want to grind and burn everybody out because superstars are hard to come by.
Mhm.
If you take Michael Jordan and you play him every single minute of every single game throughout every single season, you're going to get a lot less years with Michael Jordan.
Mhm.
So I feel the same way about our our employees, every single one of them, if you made the 10-man roster, soon to be 13,
Let's
you're
go.
good.
Yeah.
You know? You're really good. I don't wanna burn you out. You're an absolute superstar, and I treat you like that. Wonderworks has profit sharing as well. As our studio finds more success, these all-stars are getting bonuses and,
Amazing.
like, they're all making more money. Yeah.
And Zach has told me in the past that he aspired to be a professional basketball player. Uh,
At
so
one point.
hence all the sports references, if you guys could.
Yes. I could give you a lot of great analogies.
All right.
I'm the analogy guy.
Maybe as we're in the lobby now, would be great just to walk through, you know, how did you guys want to change traditional tower defense lobbies? Or did you want to keep the structure of them and keep, you know, keep players used to what they've already been seeing and then add a SpongeBob twist to it?
I mean, I think one thing that I preach all the time is change doesn't mean innovation. So it's like, let's say this UI structure you're seeing is very similar of other tower defense experiences. I think that's absolutely amazing. And I want to do that because other tower defense experiences have already educated players on where the play button is, how to access the shop, how to equip units. I don't want to change things that are going to create friction and pretend it's innovation. Like I've talked to so many developers that are like, "Oh, are you concerned that this feels similar just by looking at the UI layout?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I mean, the Xbox controller and the PlayStation controller are basically the exact same thing. They just use A, B, and X versus square, triangle, and circle. I mean, it's not something you need to innovate on. If they would have made I like to compare it to the GameCube controller because I feel like that is just an overall bad controller.
Mm.
It's like why the change? It didn't feel like innovation. It felt more like a nuisance than anything. So for us, when we were approaching this genre, it's like, okay, what needs to be changed slash innovated, and what is good. And what was good about this genre is the core loop of the experiences and how the UI was laid out, because many of these experiences use this similar layout of buttons and how you access things and how you sort things. And it's like, if we change that, it's not innovation, it's friction. It's going to lead people to being confused. You might have noticed we don't have a tutorial in this game. There's
Mhm.
no onboarding experience because if you're a tower defense fan, this should feel familiar, and like that's what we were really going for. Like you don't want to make a match 3 game and totally change what actually works about match 3. So that was like a big focus of ours. It's like, let's not just change things and call it innovation. Let's actually innovate. Where we really innovated was art style is like a huge innovation. If you go through a bunch of different tower defense experiences, this is super immersive. There's a lot of call outs to the IP itself. But also when it comes to towers and enemy units, most tower defense experiences use Roblox characters like my profile character as enemies and towers. So it's like something you can create in 2 minutes and they spam them into their game and they have hundreds of units, hundreds of enemies, a lot of variety because they're just essentially making Roblox characters. Ours are all unique models with full rigs, animation suites, and VFX because they're iconic characters from this great IP. So that like pushed us to make something super special. When you watch early videos on this game from any influencer, it was like, whoa, like, this game doesn't look like it's a Roblox game. This game doesn't feel like any tower defense I've played before. This is so polished.
Mhm.
Like, there was a popular game, Animated Adventures, I
Mhm.
think. It was another tower defense game that was, like, number 4 on the platform, top earning, and people are like, "Wow, SpongeBob Tower Defense has X quality of life feature before Anime Adventures."
Mhm.
And there was just so many comparisons to where it became like a huge TikTok meme where people were just posting how SpongeBob Tower Defense was way better than Anime Adventures.
Even though they were
Because
completely
we were
different types, like completely different styles, everything.
completely different art styles, but one thing we did capture is the anime audience with how we kind of went about the gameplay, the VFX, because Anime Tower Defense made up 3 of the 5 biggest tower defense games when we were releasing this experience. So one thing we'll do is we'll do a lot of like social study. We will go into our competitors' discords. We will read what their community's been requesting, what they're complaining about, what updates they've enjoyed, what updates they've disliked, and we will build that into our design doc on what we need to have at release. That's instantly going to raise an eyebrow. So it's like unit manager was a big thing in these anime games. When you're in a game, you had to click on each unit, upgrade them one by
Yep.
one. People wanted a screen that you could see all your units that were placed and like all their stats and like manage them. So we just had that at release. And like that was the first thing that started generating a ton of content on TikTok and Instagram was just the fact that we were putting all these features in that they've been begging for months in another game and never got. So I think that's another big part of it. This is developing a game hand in hand with a community, not for a community.
Mm,
So
that's very, you can tell from just how well made the characters are. Even when you walk around, it does feel, it's still the neon effects of, I feel like a lot of the anime tower defense.
yeah,
I'm
we
sure
did
is
that
what
on
you're going
purpose.
on purpose, but you can
Yeah.
tell it's a little bit more high fidelity, especially the characters themselves. So it's interesting that you brought that up. Since you mentioned there were things you definitely wanted to include, we can talk about just monetization because when I go into any, especially anime games, but any tower defense games, there's just so many things to buy, spend, upgrade. How did you guys just think through what is too much, what's too little, or did you just want to do the baseline of what people were used to and start slowly adding or taking away?
Yeah, so our monetization strategy is definitely heavier than most tower defense games. I did a lot of research on all the top tower defense games, and I feel like they were really just grabbing like the very basics of monetization, and they weren't really looking outside of Roblox. Like how we build our monetization is we look at mobile. Um, like Supercell, I'll keep bringing them up because I think they're genius and they're great at what they do. But when you think about companies like Supercell, when they put a monetization feature in a game, I assume they've spent millions of dollars researching if that was a good feature to put in their experience. Like,
Mm.
was it highly engaging? Was it highly monetizing? So why should we, do the A/B testing and all these case studies when we know other companies that have way more resources have sunk way more into those case studies than we could ever do? So I think, we looked at mobile, we looked at Monopoly Go, we looked at Supercell's games, we looked at a lot of the Zynga games, and we were trying to understand what features were they using to create appointment mechanics that bring users back multiple times per day. What engagement features were they using to keep day one and day seven high? And then how are they monetizing those users, knowing that obviously like less than 1% of their users are probably the people paying for the entire experience to exist. Um, so what was the ceiling? What was the entry point? All of that is kind of what we looked at. So like our shop, you're catching us on a good day. We slimmed it down on Friday.
So it's just these three
So
things: starter, elite, crusty crew pass. Am I looking at the right
So
thing?
Krusty Krew Pass is brand new. It's a subscription feature where you actually have to use a credit card and you're set up an auto renewal. So it's something not super new to Roblox, but relatively new. Most games haven't adopted it yet. And I think we have the privilege of saying we are the highest price subscription on Roblox at $9.99 a
Wow.
month. And I think that's just because people are a little worried to like push the boundaries of what everyone else is doing. Most people are living at $2.99. Or if they have something more expensive, they have a 299 option. But for us, I think the biggest fight was for me as a designer in the month before release, while we were really building out the shop, was everyone was thinking we were going to look really greedy or aggressive. And I said, I don't believe that because these players also are playing mobile games. These players have been exposed to, what a console game costs or the potential spend on mobile experiences. Think about Brawl Stars audience. It's relatively young. So they're used to seeing these practices, just not on Roblox.
So you
So
think
we
there's a
came in and
big overlap between mobile, casual and mid-core mobile games, and is it specifically Roblox now, or is it specifically the tower defense genre?
I think Roblox and mobile are starting to be more in the same than they are different. And you're starting to see more practices like in Pets Go that was like Monopoly Go mechanics and monetization mechanics applied to a Roblox experience. And Monopoly Go, we all know how successful that is.
Mhm.
So like I think, we're starting to see and I talked to a few top developers recently and it's just working together to make it feel normal to bring normal monetization practices to the platform. Like it's h it's like I'm not trying to sound like a evil corporate capitalist here, but it's hard to run a business on how it used to monetize, where it was really soft, light monetization. Maybe your, you know, total revenue potential on a user would be like $10.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really, really hard to make a game by a studio versus an individual with
Yep.
that ceiling.
Yep.
So, for us, it was like, okay, how do we come together as top developers and slowly introduce product and slowly introduce features that are going to start that conversion? And it starts at the top, like then it becomes something adapted. I'm not saying we gatekeep and don't allow these experiences to be played by others, but it's allowing for a higher ceiling of spend. um, in SpongeBob Tower Defense, you can spend tens of thousands of USD in the experience. You don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I have a free to play account myself, and I am Prestige 7. I haven't spent a dollar, and I'm enjoying my time, but I'm more engaged on that account with my overall time spend to get to that point. So it's like these are convenience offers. Most of the things in our shop aren't exclusive
Mm-hmm.
to Robux or USD. It's more of like pay for progression,
Yep.
pay for speed.
Yep.
So
Pay to win, essentially. Yeah. So very similar to mobile casual. Could we just go around this lobby and
yeah.
could you just describe what's very typical to Roblox and what you guys had pulled in from your studies in mobile and other non-Roblox games?
Yeah, so the biggest thing we think about outside of monetization is engagement and time spent. So AFK Rock here will take you to a new server that is all to yourself, and the game will keep you in the game as long as you keep Roblox open. And we will give you rewards every 15 minutes. So you could have 20-hour session time. You
Mm-hmm.
could have 20-day session time in there. This is something that's becoming more common on Roblox, but it's a way for free-to-play players or really any player to earn while not around, whether they're asleep, whether they're at school, at work. It's a way to continue to progress. In our game, we drop these things called treasure chests every 15 minutes. And if you stand in this circle, you can see that they upgrade to different rarities, and the different rarities have different pools of rewards. So there's some really cool exclusive stuff in there, and you don't have to do anything. You could just be asleep, and you'll earn 4 chests every 15 minutes. You get to come on in the morning, which is another big engagement feature, as soon as you wake up and like rip through 30 plus chests, and it's like a really fun experience. I can give
What
you
a
a
way to
couple
wake up.
chests.
Yeah. What a morning.
Do you I can give you some real quick just so you can see how cool it is.
So I can start
I'll
rolling.
start you with the rare treasure chest. We'll start you at the basic. And then basically this is a feature that we got inspired by Supercell. I'll give you 100 of them, why not? We were inspired by Supercell in their game Brawl Stars. They have star drops, and basically when you choose to open these chests, you click through upgrades and it gives the chest a chance to go from rare to epic to legendary to mythic to secret. And it's like this really exciting moment in the game for players when they come back in the morning or come back from a day of school. They have a bunch of these they can open.
That they just look forward to all day. They've let it run.
They have premium rewards inside that you typically have to spend money on. So it's like a way for free to play players. They give us a little bit more time. They get some of the things that people usually spend money on.
And I'm sure it also helps you guys keep a certain level of concurrence, retention, everything. And that's what a
Yeah.
lot of games are going for too. How many players are then AFK? Like, how do you manage, who's actually a real player versus who's just botting?
So we have analytics that break it down the servers. So like on a weekend when we have like 50K players, we probably have 10,000 people in the AFK world.
Okay, like
So
20%. Yeah.
yeah, like 20%. Another feature is on the UI, the season pass. We do something kind of unique with this. Obviously, there's premium tiers, which isn't very unique, but we allow you to prestige the season pass for free. So if you give us enough time and you work through the season pass, even as a free to play player, you can prestige the pass and get all the rewards again. So like you never have to stop earning season pass rewards throughout a
Mm,
season.
I see. And that's totally
Um,
separate from Krusty Crew.
yeah, the Krusty Cruise, it's a separate thing. We drop a new season pass at the beginning of each month. One just dropped this last Friday,
Okay.
season 4.
Then what does Krusty Crew give you? Just fully exclusive stuff.
Crafty Crew, it gives you bonus daily rewards. It also gives you increased earnings across the board. And at milestone months 3, 6, 9, and 12, you get exclusive like mounts and units.
It's like a separate, it's just a separate pass. You have two different
Yeah.
different passes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go into some of the other places like Raid or anything here that you're really proud of that you wanted to add that you don't see in any other tower defense game.
Yeah, so in challenges, we have like revolving challenges. So right now, the map is the Flying Dutchman. It refreshes every hour. There's like 4 maps it cycles through. We have 3 different difficulties, one that's hidden behind that waterfall because it's a really tough difficulty and a hard challenge. But you can see you get all these different earnings. Um, like in this little earning banner, there's like a sea rhino unit as well, which is like a fun secret. If you bring a unit into one of these challenges that has sea bear, it's like lore from SpongeBob, a sea bear
Damn,
attack, attract the sea rhino.
I love that.
You have a chance that the sea rhino will spawn as an enemy, and if you defeat it, you get it as a unit. So it's like these fun moments that there's always something to kind of grind for and explore in the game. Challenges have their own currency. You can spend it at Squidward's Challenge Shack, and there's a bunch of different things you can acquire there. We added mounts to the game, like the Pioneer Rock here, which was our April Fool's event. We made the Pioneer Rock a unit, and if you got, I think it was 5,000 takedowns with it over 24 hours, it became a mount for you.
Oh,
So
cool.
something you can drive around.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, so
That's
it was
so
like a really
fun.
funny thing, and now there's this huge like hashtag movement. People want the rock back as a unit
Um,
because it was only here for a day.
yeah.
People miss the rock. They loved it.
Yeah. How, because I'm like, we probably both grew up watching Nickelodeon on
Mhm.
TV. So we're familiar, really familiar with all the SpongeBob lore. How are most people discovering SpongeBob now?
It's funny, I have a few investors that tell me like their 8-year-olds never really saw the show and they started watching all the way from season 1 because of this game. And I think that's like what we're seeing. Like it's very impactful for the younger generation on Roblox. The show's what can it be 26 years old this year? So it's super impactful for younger users that might only be super familiar with the new stuff or some of the movies,
Mm.
but it really ties them deeper into the IP. But what we're seeing is our audience is over 40% 18 plus. So it also is so nostalgic for people to come back and interact with the IP in a new way on a platform that's free to
Yeah,
access and the
wow.
game's free to play.
Well,
So
Paramount must really love you guys. That's amazing.
we love them too. So it goes both ways.
I know. We can play. Let's
Yeah, I'll
play
take you
one.
to story mode.
I'm
We'll
excited to see the
destroy.
characters or units you have.
Yeah,
Um,
let's okay, so let's hop in here. I couldn't go with you because you didn't have it unlocked. Okay. We're gonna go on normal. I'm going to bring these OP units, but
okay,
I'll help you. I'll be
let's
your
go.
tower defense mentor. Yeah.
Amazing. How frequently do people play alone versus with a friend?
We just dropped a new update recently, factions this last Friday, and I'd say before, like a lot of people would play alone, solo grind, but still very social overall to where they'd be competing with their friends and like who went the furthest rounds and
Mm,
endless or what chapter they were on and how quickly they completed a challenge. But with factions, it makes users select one of 3 teams to join, and then we have like a season long competition where they're competing for first place as a faction, like as an entire team.
ah, I see.
And we gave them like clubhouses. So this is super unique to us. I guess I could show you that too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
super unique to SpongeBob Tower Defense as a game. You have Patrick. He's a starter unit here.
I do have
um,
Karen too. That's it.
you have Karen too. Nice. You got to
Yeah.
save up some money. Um, but I'd say now with factions, a lot of people are actually playing with people that might not have been their friends before, that they might not know even,
Hmm.
which we think is really, really exciting, and it's really going to help the game become even more social and scale.
Also, people are
I'm gonna
just joining
place,
random factions, just trying to get in because you probably get
yeah,
exclusive rewards if you win. Oh my God.
that-
Hey,
this
we
is
got a
one of our
sea
secrets, the
bear.
sea bear. Yeah, he comes out of his little like cave back there, and this is a
Yeah.
shiny Wumbo version, so he's gigantic. But yeah, he comes and thrashes the enemies and
Where did you
does like
put him? Oh,
AoE
you put him
damage
back
as well.
here. I see.
Yeah, just not to totally monopolize your kills,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but to help you out.
Oh, his AoE is insane. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, as you upgrade him, it becomes more insane. But he's more for the late game. He's really hard to get. All the units I have in my loadout are like really, really tough to get. So, but we have different speeds like 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x. 1 and 2x we offer for free to all players, but then 3 and 5 are paid.
Yeah, I
speed.
bought the 5X. It was like a thousand
Oh, there you go.
Robux.
Yeah, so we're in 5 right now.
Yeah.
5x you can complete a story mode in like a minute, minute 15. Um,
It's much
so
faster. You have to buy it.
much
It's like
faster.
you literally have to buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna show we'll show the Dennis. This is my shiny Wumbo Dennis. Goes around creating like a flame spiral, like a little flame tornado.
And when you add content, I was reading your other interview with Steven, that part of what differentiates you guys, you think, is also the live ops and the weekly refreshes and everything. What does that mean? Is it adding more units? Is it adding more maps? Like, how do you think about keeping it fresh?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a mix, and our updates are huge. Like I think most tower defense games when they update on Roblox might drop like 3 or so units, but again they're like Roblox characters like you and I, so might take them like 15 minutes. But for us, if we had 3 units, you're talking about like one person working for 3 days to create those units. And that's just animations, rigs, and VFX. Then to actually model the units is probably another 2 to 3 days, so of a person's time.
So it's
So
one person that's doing all of that, VFX,
one person will
animation.
model and then one person does
Okay.
VFX, animations, and rigs. Yeah. So everything that's animated and rigged in this game, we can go back. We can go to next. Yeah, we can go next. Um, everything that's in this game, rig, animation, and VFX wise, was made by one person. All the models were mostly made by one person,
Hmm.
1.5, I'd say. And then the maps were put together by one person as well.
This is all part of your 10-person full-time team.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. And are you guys able to work on other projects too at the same time,
Yeah.
or you're focused on SpongeBob?
Yeah, we have another big release this summer coming out, and then
Nice.
another one early fall. So we're working on other projects in the background,
Nice.
even with the team of 10. So
And it seems like you're spending a good amount of time both choosing which partners to work with and also what kind of game you want to make. What's your average time from idea to actually launching a game? And then how much does the game change in between, especially as algo changes or meta changes or anything changes?
yeah, I mean the Paramount SpongeBob story is a fun one. I like to tell it, but we went to RDC, Roblox Developer Conference, last September. And I knew we wanted to make a tower defense game. We started kind of working on some of the systems and just ideating a bit in the background before RDC. And I went there and I met with Paramount and I told them, hey, I'm making a tower defense game. It's going to come out in December. Would love for it to be a SpongeBob tower defense game,
Oh,
but
so you
I need
pitched
like
it to
an
them.
answer now.
I see.
Yeah, I pitched it to them. I was like, I would love this IP. I would love to do something special with it. But I said the crazy thing is we need to be in contract and working on this in like 2 weeks. And they were like, whoa.
Was it a bluff,
um,
or were you talking to other partners and you just wanted to integrate IP immediately?
so no, it was a big bet. We bet like the entire company on this game working. Like
Wow.
I wouldn't be here right now if this game didn't work because we did a lot of work for hire that wasn't super inspired and the company was just seeing down year after down year and
Mm.
we didn't have the money to focus on originals or anything unique and special.
Oh,
So I
meaning
was like, hey,
Wonderworks would have shut down if this game didn't
if
work.
it didn't work. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's what you mean. Like you needed 2 weeks because you're running a really, really tight ship.
Yeah, it had to come out
I
in
see.
December or we risked not
Oh
existing.
my
So
gosh.
we basically had like 3 months from when I went to pitch it to hope that they would sign a contract and we could make the game as fast as possible. Now, Paramount didn't know that at the time. They know it now,
Hmm.
obviously. But basically, yeah, it was my moment to be like, okay, we could do work for hire and maybe be around for a couple more years and, you know, just slowly fade into the dark.
Oh wow.
Or we could take a big risk. And we made this game in less than 2 months. So it took a month to get the contract in our hands and signed, and only about 2 months to make the
To
game.
make the game.
Yeah.
That's a wild story. It's
Yeah. No.
true. Wow. I'm super happy for the success of it, and it's definitely a lot of risk. Did you talk to
No.
other partners and you knew you wanted to work with SpongeBob and you had designed the game specifically to be modular for any IP, or you knew you wanted SpongeBob?
We did talk to one other partner that they're still great and they're amazing. Their IP is awesome.
Mm.
And we still would make a game with them today. But really was like if SpongeBob says yes, we're going with SpongeBob.
Mhm.
So it's like it was great. I met Jennifer Sharp at RDC. She was new to Paramount,
Mhm.
just came from Activision. We didn't know each other at all. It
Yeah.
was the first time I met her, and I was just like, it was supposed to be a meet and greet, and I was just like, I have this idea, and we need to do it now, or it'll never happen.
Yeah.
It was like me manically like, give me this chance, and I swear to God, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
um, yeah, and Jen is just amazing, and she believed in the project, and they gave us the keys to a legacy IP that's almost been
Mm.
around for 3 decades, and have allowed us to make something that's so special to us and so special to the community. And yeah, I'm forever grateful to Paramount and them believing in a studio that just looked like we took a bunch of L's for 2 years straight. We looked like crap.
I'm sure they didn't think that. I'm sure they saw they saw how
Yeah, well,
manic
it's
you
just
were and were like, "Oh, this guy is definitely he's the
maybe it
one."
made me look like genius.
Yeah.
Maybe the manic was that of a genius. Um, but I can take you over here as we
Okay.
continue to chat. This is the factions world. This is all the new hype and hubba. Um, but I hope we get in the same server. We're friends now, so
So I just said
hopefully it does us
yes. I'm
justice.
coming in.
But basically, this is our newest update. Oh, I see you. Perfect. I'm on this rock. This is the faction world, and you can see there's 3 factions. We have the Band Geeks over there, the Jelly Spotters in the back, and then Goofy Goobers over there. So players run to this queue, they select a faction, and it's like you're joining an alliance.
Ah.
Um, if you want, you can join Jelly Spotters,
Oh,
and you
okay,
can
okay.
come with me into the clubhouse.
The middle one,
Um,
join. Changing factions will cost you Robux later on.
yeah, there's a competition, so I'll
Yeah,
meet you
yeah,
in the
yeah.
clubhouse.
All right, I'm in the
There's a
club.
competition. We don't want people switching to the winning team like
Uh.
last second. But so each faction gets their own cool clubhouse. You can see how the faction race is going right now. It's pretty close
Mm-hmm.
between the 3 factions in
Wow,
total
very
points
close.
accumulated. Yep. And then you can see we have these faction milestones at the back of the room where those are accumulated points by the faction that unlock new shop offers here that you can spend your faction points on. So our faction still has 4 offers to unlock, but we've already unlocked 6.
Hmm.
And then you
Wow,
can
and
purchase
Kevin the
those. And then
cucumber
we have
runs it. Nice.
yeah, a leaderboard for the faction itself that you can see who's contributed the most points. And then this is where the more social gameplay came in. There's this team up section in each clubhouse where you guys can enter story mode, raids, and challenges like together and work for your faction.
So I can only get faction points in going through this clubhouse lobby.
Nope, you can actually get them any way in the
Anyway.
game. It's just this was a good way to like on release night on Saturday this week, um, everyone was in these queues together, all going as parties of 4 because they knew they'd finish the maps quicker. It'd be a little bit easier with a bunch of people, and they'd accumulate points quicker for their faction. And it was so cool to see that social feature.
Hmm.
Plus, this server is a 100-person server, so it leads to a lot more conversation and things like that as well. So we're going to evolve this feature. It has a new competition every season, so at the beginning of each month. We're going to continue to evolve it, make it deeper. We're going to add faction quests, like multiplayer questing, just to like really encourage that like social play, um, which I think will add like more
Yeah,
longevity to the game and value for players. If people can make friends in your experience, they'll have people that are always bringing them back to your experience.
for
So
sure. And the hangout, when people come in, do they hang out in lobbies and talk to people, or do they immediately either AFK or start playing?
no, they definitely hang out and talk. Like over the weekends where our peak times are, like you'll see like every clubhouse is full,
Hmm.
everyone's talking, you
Mm.
know, playful smack to one another
Nice,
between factions.
nice.
Um, and then we have a trading server that takes place on the Dutchman's ship. There's a bunch of people there wielding and dealing their
Oh, can
units,
we go there?
and
Or can
yeah,
I
we
get
can
in?
go there. Yeah. Oh well, you have to be level 15, but I can juice you real quick.
Okay,
Hold
okay.
on.
Nice, nice. This is really why I do these interviews.
Yeah, you're
I
getting
don't
all
even
the
have to pay
XP.
to win. Yeah.
Just got to
Um,
know the devs. There you go. Should be like level 100 maybe now or
61,
close.
61. Nice.
61. Okay.
Thank you.
So we can go back to my private server because right now Roblox how it works is if you like leave a private server, it doesn't take you back to a private server. Um, so we just
Let
have to
me,
go back through the
okay, let
website.
me get in.
But yeah, the trading hub is very social. People are constantly talking back and forth, trying to trade some of their more valuable units or get a unit they're missing.
You can trade all units. Everything, most things are tradable.
Yeah, units, mounts, and XP food for your
Yeah.
units. And then you can even trade game passes. So our pay to play players, they'll buy a bunch of game pass gifts from the shop and trade them for units they don't want to grind for. So like that's been super impactful to our revenue as well.
Oh, somebody's already requested to trade me. Oh, maybe
Yeah,
because I'm level 61. Uh,
they think it might be worth their time.
yeah. I don't have anything.
Yeah,
Cool.
you don't have anything to give them.
So do
Yeah.
they just, so this is so, people just say something and then oh, I see, trading SFH for SFH.
Yeah, so
Trading
they'll
trade.
kind of be like announcing that they're looking for something in particular. Then like here, I'll enter a trade with you
Yeah, I'm looking for
and
you.
you can just see what it looks like because there's even a trading chat, so like we can chat privately in our own trade.
Okay, accept.
So like I can say like, we can just like have a conversation here
Oh, here.
and people can negotiate for what they're looking for. Like say I wanted to add, I'll give you a sea bear and it's like, oh, well, I also like maybe you'll put up a bad offer and I can be like, oh, like make it a little bit richer. Or, I'm
Oh,
looking for
okay.
this.
But
And
can
they can
I,
negotiate here.
oh, can I can't buy it though. Like I can't trade currency for it.
No, you can't trade currency for it. That is something other games offer. We're actually working on an auction house right now, though, where you can actually sell your units for Robux and the player can actually play
Wow,
to earn in this experience.
interesting.
Yeah.
This is
And then
very
they could dev X.
sophisticated.
So if you're a really dedicated player, you could actually make a living playing SpongeBob Tower Defense. Like that's our goal.
I see.
Because we have
That's
an eBay
wild.
market that we
Into
don't
the game.
have, but
Yeah,
people are listing on eBay, and a unit recently sold for $460. So you can make a living if you grind the game.
wow.
So we're building out that auction house, and it should be out in May.
Very cool. I know we're a little bit over time. Anything else you want to say about the game? Anything else you want to promote from Wonderworks? Um,
Yeah.
any last
Um.
words?
Yeah. My final words. um. I will say give Roblox a chance. Like if you're a developer out there and you're developing on another platform or with a different engine, Roblox is so approachable. The community is amazing. The staff behind Roblox are here to help you and create success for you. And I think why I love Roblox so much is it feels like YouTube did. You could be anybody and become a celebrity. Like I was a construction worker before I became the YouTuber and now I'm the CEO of a games company
Yeah,
doing you know more than seven figures a month in revenue.
it's amazing.
So, and that's all because of like YouTube and Roblox and like these user generated platforms. Like, what's really interesting with YouTube was like you could create anything you want, do anything you want, and there was always going to be some type of audience, no matter how niche your content was. And that's very similar to what Roblox is. And I think now that Roblox is starting to adapt more like analytics and give us access to more analytics and adapt more of the monetization practices we're seeing success with on mobile, like it's becoming more viable for
Mm,
business and to really scale and like the sheer amount of users too. I really think this is the next evolution in gaming.
awesome. And then if there is one lasting piece of advice, say I'm an indie dev, double A dev, I've been building games on Steam, building games on mobile my entire life, and I'm looking into Roblox. What advice would you give them? Would it be to just copy games and see what works? Would it be to understand the algorithm better and just put stuff out there? What is like the best, advice you've gotten and something that you would want to pass on?
Yeah, I mean, one, I think definitely if you're brand new to this platform, study the community, see what resonates with them overall. Um, and you'll discover a lot of do's and don'ts just by understanding what they've received well and negatively in the past. But also like check the top charts. Like it's public information for everybody on Roblox. You can sort by device now, whether it's PC, mobile, or all devices, and see what genre might have reoccurrences in the top 25 or 30 experiences. And if you feel like that's something you can create, then perfect. There's clearly a large community for it that spend their time. So for us, when we make a new game, it really is like, what genres are having success right now? Are those genres dominated by one or two experiences, or are there half a dozen plus experiences that are in those top 50 slots? If it is one or two experiences, it's probably that the community's small but loyal,
Hmm.
like an Adopt Me. You don't see many Adopt Me type games in the top 25. It's really just Adopt Me. And same with like Pet Simulator. You don't see a lot of simulators in the top 25. So like those are kind of decisions you need to make. You can have really cool ideas and you can reinvent the wheel, but I definitely suggest for your first few experiences, if you're looking to have success and you don't have a lot of runway or a lot of opportunity, really do your research on the community and what's proving to be successful more than once on the platform.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Zach. I feel like your story, Wonderworks, everything is super inspirational. And also, this has been, I'm sure, very insightful for people to understand how this game even got started to what you guys changed, added, and kept the same. Thank you so much for coming on. It was fun to have you.
I really appreciate the opportunity to tell the story.